Welcome, guys, to an episode of Nik Talk Show. We're here under the beautiful blue night sky, and tonight we are going to be talking about wealth, mentally and financially. Now, over the past couple weeks, I've been, watching a lot of inspirational videos, but I also have veered towards, changing my lifestyle mentally, physically, you know, trying to up myself and at least better myself. And I started to watch a little bit of Ty Lopez. He came from nothing, and I can relate to that because I was an orphan. You know, being an orphan, you have nothing, and you come from nothing. So when you do get wealth, sometimes you don't know what to do with it. Now, this is going to hit my first topic of wealth. And the first topic of wealth is going to be debt. Now, debt is the worst thing anyone knows. Debt can get you into really bad places. It can, sometimes even get you killed. It can even, make you bankrupt. You'll lose your, car, house. Now, at some point, people will be in debt, no matter who you are. No matter if you're a college student, if you're just a regular person, people do become, you know, in dived into debt. And how to get out of this is first, this is in all of my opinion, but I'm crediting Ty Lopez for a lot of this. And my interpretation of it is take that debt and make it into a little bit of, scarcity. Now, you can get out of debt by first just when you do get money, pay whoever you need to off. And that's, you'd say that's common sense, but not many people actually do that. And what needs to happen is people have to do that a lot more often. And once you do that, it becomes, a lot easier to go onto the second level of wealth. And this is my second topic, which is scarcity. It's, above debt, so now you're, out of the area where you're just down the shitter, really. And what you got to do is you got to go above that, you know. Scarcity and health. It's between, debt and health. It's in the middle. So what scarcity means is, you're doing all right. You got debt paid off, and a lot of this can also attribute to, being mentally. Don't be in debt. Don't be that guy that, sits around feeling sorry for himself. Get to that point where you feel good about what's happening in your life, but you could change some other things. You know, because we can all better ourselves. Well, scarcity is, you in the financial perspective, it means, you have very little money, but you're out of the debt area. And what's got to happen here is you got to get up to the third level, which is health. Health is big for everybody, not just, physically, but being mentally healthy is a huge part to a lot of times to surviving the world. And with me, I'm at a point where I'm mentally healthy, physically healthy, and I think a lot of people should be in that state, already. But if they have issues at home, if they have issues, at work, there's materials and there's skills that you can learn to get to that level of health. Now, I've never been, the best person with health, especially when I was younger, I used to eat really bad, and I used to have this motto of screw the world, screw this. Then I'm gonna turn a little bit to off topic of wealth, but it is I got into Buddhism. I know that sounds really stupid and pretty absurd, but a lot of their teachings help me be at a state of you know mentally healthy and physically healthy. Um, one of I remember one of the chapters was about being in a middle ground, and we all know about what the yin and yang is. And if you guys don't know what the yin and yang is, it is life is balanced. You have good and you have bad, and throughout life, you're gonna have that no matter what. Sometimes the good will outweigh the bad each, you know, each day. But try to stay in the middle, you know. And one of the stories was about Buddhists, about Siddhartha. He came from royalty, and it's pretty ironic because we're talking about wealth. But he came from wealth, and he actually became a religious man and gave up all that wealth to get knowledge. And knowledge in life, especially in the world, is the biggest thing you need. You know, money won't buy you happiness, but a lot of times it won't buy you knowledge because knowledge is from experience a lot of times too. So Siddhartha, one day he left the palace and he actually went with some monks to train on his new religion. It wasn't Buddhism per se at this time. It didn't become Buddhism, but he to say that he was dedicated to this religion, he starved himself. But it was only until he was completely anorexic and on the verge of dying that he understood that life has balance, and you know you have to be balanced no matter what. You can't have too much of anything, and you can't have too little. That's the same with food. You can't have overconsumption of food, or you'll start growing fat, and you can't have too little because you won't start to build muscle, and your bones will start deteriorating if you don't have the proper nutrition. Now back to the wealth, you know, being at a balance is the key thing, you know. And this leads me into my fourth level of pretty much Tai Lopez's pyramid of wealth, which is prosperity. Now you've been very, prosperous, and you've become successful financially. Even mentally, you might have been, starting to get into that stage where you're happy with yourself. You're there financially, you don't have any debt to pay off. You're starting to have a little extra money for yourself, and that's where, being successful comes in, and you have to figure out how to manage that success, because a lot of times success breaks people. Success, um I heard from a motivational speaker. I'm going to be doing a lot of this, but I heard from a motivational speaker that a lot of people go to their grave, you know missing out on all the success that they could have had, because they didn't know how to control that success. They either, once they got successful, they just stopped caring and thought, oh, I'm successful now. Now I can, relax and not care anymore. No, that's not how it works. It's not. Um, but what happens is once you're at a successful state, that should just drive you even more to become even more successful. Knowledge, financially, you know, religiously, even relationship wise. If if you're at a good pace with your girlfriend, boyfriend, doesn't matter who, try to make a take an initiative and take that bigger step and try to even secure the friendship or relationship even more, than you are now. With and now, this is my biggest thing because my whole motto for this whole channel is knowledge for others, knowledge for, and also knowledge for myself. But I want to impact people. I don't want to be a bystander sitting on the sidelines, being one of those people that doesn't do anything with their life and has nothing to offer for the life. Because in Buddhism, the biggest thing is, spread that knowledge, spread that wisdom, because that is the best way you can be, you, and that is the best way you can reach nirvana, which, some people, especially Christians and, a lot of other religions would just say it's heaven. Another word for heaven. But, which, this leads me to my last pyramid of wealth topic, which is wealth and impact on others. Now, at this point, your wealth is overflowing, and you've gotten past that mental and physical and financial stage of, you know, prosperous and I mean prosperity. Now, what you have to do is, keep on looking to better yourself. But now, your biggest thing is impact others. Whether it's giving them some wisdom, some knowledge, some advice. Because, to be honest with you, I believe that we're all here for a purpose. My purpose for right now is spreading knowledge among others and impacting others so they can, do whatever they want with their life and be happy with it. So, this last level of, wealth is wealth and impact on others. And that is just a big thing that people have to get is, just because your parents are wealthy doesn't mean you impacted anyone in your life. So you gotta, I'm sorry to say this, but you gotta go out and impact others. Whether it's doing, going to a soup kitchen, whether it's inspirationally telling someone to get through a hard time in their life, whether it's, some schoolwork, try to motivate that kid, who's about to flunk out or about to, drop out to, stay in, at least for a certain amount of time. Baby steps, baby steps. And you will be wealthy mentally and physically and even financially. But none of this doesn't come without hard work. And that's one thing that this all has in common for the pyramid is you need to put in hard work to get from debt to wealth and impact on others. I know it sounds really extremely cheesy, but it's not. It's how life is. You work hard for everything you own, you know. So, to conclude, hopefully this was not only motivational, but this was I hope this was pretty insightful to people who are trying to get wealthier in their lives mentally, physically, and financially. Um, and this is gonna be, a weekly thing for my channel, but I like to give, props and credit to my photographer and filmer, Will Avery, who's actually my cousin. I feel pretty proud of him. And, you know, I'm trying to incorporate more people into this because a lot of it is their wisdom and knowledge too. At times I might have, little skits from an officer or little skits from, a mother, father, or even, a skit from a wealthy person that I know, and see how they got wealthy and see what their mentality was to get that wealthy. And finding wealthy people is not hard. You can look around the corner, but it's having them, you know, inspire you is the hard part, because we see a lot of these wealthy people as corporate businessmen. You don't see them as a person. So stay tuned, for next week to see, my next topic. And that concludes Nikolai's Talk Show.